Mabuhay and welcome to our second ever episode in English from the podcast Onderweg daheim, the travel podcast in Swiss German, and from here and there also in English with Larissa and Eric.
We are here on a very beautiful tiny island in the Philippines named Siquijor. The last time you've seen us, we were in the Himalaya in Nepal, where we recorded our first English episode. And a lot of people we met along the way asked us if we could do like another one in English because they really want to listen to us, but Swiss German is, not that common. So here we are making our second episode.
Yeah, exactly. So the first one was about India. Meanwhile, we have been to Nepal, where we recorded the last episode in English, but also in Thailand, about 2 months, and also 3 weeks in Taiwan. Maybe you could keep up to date by Instagram on our travels there. But here from the Philippines, we've been here now 5 weeks almost. And we're going to give you our review, and within probably the next 45 minutes, an hour, or what happened to us or what we experienced here in the Philippines in all the places we went to. And we're going to give you also like some general recommendations or share our experiences we had here with the food, where to go, how the transportation is, what's the difference between Thailand and the Philippines, for example.
And which country we prefer.
Yeah, exactly. Where the Philippines rank in our traveled countries.
Yeah.
So I would say that we start right ahead, how we started, how we got to the Philippines.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we went from Taipei, Taiwan, to Manila. Was our first short stop. We didn't spend much time in Manila. We only explored a little area of the city, so we're not gonna talk too much about that. But after that, we went to Coron. We flew by plane over there. Then from Coron, we went to El Nido. And El Nido is on the main island of Palawan. Afterwards, we went to Port Barton. Yeah. Then Puerto Princesa. I'm just gonna quickly say the names where we've been so we can show it on the map, and then we're gonna go into it. After Puerto Princesa, we flew to Siargao.
Yeah, via Cebu. There's no direct flights, unfortunately. Yeah. So you always have to go either through Cebu or Manila.
Then we flew again from Siargao to Cebu. From Cebu, we took a van up to Malapascua. Then we took a van down again to Moalboal. And then here to Siquijor. Yeah. And we're gonna go back from Cebu and keep on our travels in South Korea. That was a short oversight. It was probably a bit much names. If you haven't been in the Philippines, it's just random names. But you're gonna see it on the map where we've been more or less. And yeah, we had to fly to a lot of places, unfortunately. A little bit different than Thailand. But yeah, that
was the stop, and I hope you really liked the episode from our English episode. Thank you very much. Now we're gonna dig in now to those spots, of course. Starting in Coron, which was kind of special for us because it was, for one side, the first stop in the Philippines, of course, and on the other side we had the two friends who visited us, like Ingtor and Loic from Switzerland. They were on vacation for 3.5 weeks in the Philippines, and we met for about almost 2 weeks. We met up for a few stops in Palawan, which are the islands where Coron is located. Yeah, it was cool to see Ingtor after a few months. It's a good friend from home, and really nice feeling to see him. And also with Loic, we became good friends now during the travels. How was it for you to also be with a friend of me and have somebody around from Switzerland again?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I mean, we didn't talk in Swiss German to them, so that was the difference. But I liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun, and I really liked that they agreed to the style of travels that we do. Staying in hostels, staying in dorms, bunk beds. Even though they for sure could have spent more money, it was just a vacation for them. But I really enjoyed it that we did everything together. And yeah, we had a really good time.
Yeah. And we didn't speak only English to them because we were too cool. No, Ingthor is from Iceland and Loik is from the French-speaking part, so it's just easier to keep it
In English.
in English.
Yeah. What was your first impression of the Philippines?
As spoke about it in the last episode, I'm half Mexican and I also grew up a part of my life there and we went there quite often. So it was for me like a mix between Thailand and Mexico. Probably the two countries I've spent the most time in so far. So it's a really cool mix. You see you're an Asian country, but you still see in the streets and how the people like kind of interact that it could be also like somewhere in Central or South America.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's really cool. For me, and kind of a, I don't know what's the word, like heimelig. So like I felt kind of a little bit home.
Like you were at home, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Same. I felt very, very welcomed here because their main language is Tagalog, and Tagalog has a lot of Spanish words in it. And we both speak Spanish, so we already felt a bit closer to the people and their language due to the Tagalog. And yeah, it's really fun. Like we keep on hearing Spanish words, like they count in Spanish numbers. And yeah, that feels a bit like home. And as you just said, the people are so warm, so open, and way less like distance than, for example, the people in Thailand or Taiwan were. So I really, really like that. They're also very open. Even when we're like going out, it's super easy to make friends. Yeah. I think it was a very nice start, Coron.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Coron, it's on an island. I think the island's called Busuanga.
Busuanga, exactly,
yeah. And
yeah.
Coron is just like the little village on the southeast end where all the tours start and like the main tourist spot is. We did two main activities, diving and island hopping. Which one did you prefer from those two ones?
Island hopping.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it was our first island hopping that we did in the Philippines. The next weeks we did like more of them, like I don't know, in total 4 or 5 island hoppings.
Yeah,
something
4,
around that, yeah. And yeah, it was just breathtaking to see like all those little islands and beaches, and the water is like crystal clear and blue. And yeah, I was like, wow, we definitely landed in paradise. And it was also like less touristy than what we experienced in Thailand, for example. So that was a big plus.
Yeah, also they had like a lot of freshwater lakes, which made the water, I felt like it like even clearer. You could see like 30 meters deep easily, even further. And that was also a really cool spot to free dive. And this was one of my, I would say, top 5 experiences I had in my life. Was 1 minute I had there free diving in this lake, which is just crystal blue and had like a really nice like water. Looked like a mountain, kind of an underwater mountain. Yeah, it was just a crazy experience and feeling to do that deep dive or like the free dive there. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it a lot, yeah. Part of that, what you can also do there is what we said, like free diving.
Scuba diving.
Scuba diving. That's what you can do there, or free diving.
As well, I think.
Yeah. But no, the main thing to do there is scuba diving, because they have a lot of shipwrecks going back to the Second World War from the Japanese. Or at least there were a lot of Japanese ships that sunk there. Some were, I think, from the army. Some were just like industrial ships or whatever. And yeah, of course, you can go dive there, and that's a really cool experience because I got to go into a ship, and we've been diving there for like 20-25 minutes, just in the rock. That was really cool. You didn't go there, huh?
No, I went on the first dive, and that was like a Japanese submarine hunter. That was already very cool because usually when ships sink, a lot of like corals and fish start to build over time. And yeah, you could still very much see the outlines of the ship. You could also like dive in a bit, but I am pretty claustrophobic, so I'm not a huge fan of like tight spaces. That's why I passed on it was the third dive, I think.
Yeah, the last one, yeah.
The last one. And I think it was the right choice after what you've told me. I'm sure it was an amazing experience, but it was just not for me.
Yeah. How would you wrap up Coron? Would you go there again?
Yeah, I would go there again, but if you are on a tight schedule, I would rather go to El Nido,
Yeah.
like the second stop, because Coron itself, like the village or the city, didn't have much to offer. There were like some cafes and restaurants, but other than that, like the beach around Coron city is not nice. It's pretty industrial, and unfortunately, a lot of poverty. And that was also like very special in that place, that you had like a hotel or a hostel like next to the local villages. And as I just said, the people are pretty poor around there. And yeah, I've never like experienced it that way, and I kind of like felt bad at times to live like my best life in a hotel room, and people around me are not in
really
that great
close by.
conditions. Yeah.
It was a special mix, but yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, if you want to go diving, go dive with the Brax or like do the island hopping, you should definitely go there. If you're like Larissa on a tight schedule, fly directly to El Nido.
Absolutely.
And that's what we did. We didn't fly. We took the ferry.
Exactly, yeah.
A little hungover ferry it was for most of us.
Yep.
So we partied the last night like until 3 o'clock in the morning, and had to get up at 6 o'clock to the ferry, which took us within 4 hours to El Nido, which is the main island of Palawan, just on the top. Yeah.
Yeah, and the ferry was amazing because they had sunbeds outside, and I love to like just chill in the sun, especially with the wind and everything. You all slept inside with the AC, and I was like having my best time out there. And yeah, you could do a sort of expedition. It's very known from Coron to El Nido. We didn't plan ahead. We didn't know that this expedition existed. A friend of yours, Sabrina, told you after we've been there. But I would definitely recommend that, because I've heard so many people talking about it, that was the best thing they did in the entire Philippines. I hope we...
What did they do? Maybe you have to clear up what the
I
expedition
think they
is.
just like hopped around a lot of islands and slept on the islands. It took them like 3 or 4 days in total. And you're always in the same group of people and just, chill with each other. And I think it would have been a great experience, but probably for another time.
Yeah, we'll keep that. But if you're looking to go there, that would definitely be a good way to go from Coron to El Nido and still experience something more than just like a classic ferry ride we had. El Nido, we heard a lot about this place also because it's called The Nest. Is it like
The Nest?
The Nest, yeah, in Spanish. So it felt also like a little bit, a Spanish
El Nido.
name. El Nido, it's a really beautiful name. And where was our Nido? Where did we sleep?
Outpost Hostel. Outpost Hostel wasn't located very central. There's like a main town in El Nido where all the shops, restaurants and bars are. But as the name Outpost already says, it's not like central. It was still like 5 to 10 minutes by trike to get into town. But apart from that, it was like the most beautiful hostel ever. It was right on the beach, had lots of spaces to just chill, have a good time.
To walk there, you had to walk down the stairs and like walk on the beach for 200 meters.
Yeah.
And if there's like high tide, so the water would come up, you would walk through the water to the entry of the hostel, which is, really cool.
It's so cool. And the sunsets there were like my favorites.
Yeah.
That's like so special. And they had also great activities to like bond with other people. And I would definitely recommend Outpost. It wasn't that cheap. It was pretty expensive for a hostel or for a dorm bed, but the dorms are very nice. Showers were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a high-class traveler's hostel.
Exactly.
If you want to get yourself some luxury, but still not pay more than $20 a night.
Yeah.
That's the place to go.
And you have to book ahead because it books up very fast.
Exactly. Going to the towns or getting around here, you have usually the tuk-tuks like in India or in also Thailand. But here you have trikes. They're called trikes because there's a bike attached with like a little cabin with one more wheel, which makes the thing steady. And they're super cute because there's really a motorbike, probably 20, 30 years old. And they build like a whole car around it with old parts of cars. And they just look really fun and nice, and they pack like up to 6, 7, 8 people in there with a little old shitty bike. So sometimes if it's too steep, people have to get out, or they take like different ways so they can avoid the steep passages. But yeah, it's a cool way to get around here.
Yeah, it's also pretty cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You said it, island hopping.
Yes, we did some more island hopping. In El Nido, they offer tours called A, B, C, and D, I think.
Yeah.
We did A and C, and C is the most popular one. Was C the one where we visited the Big Lagoon? I think so, yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
And that was like my all-time favorite spot.
Yeah.
It was just breathtaking. If you like, didn't look at all the other people around you. I was one of those too, but still, we got there, and the ship with which we traveled there was not able to go like very close to the lagoon, so we had to paddle there in a kayak. And my arm, I broke it in Thailand, so it was still not that good. So it was just a passenger princess there, and you were paddling for me. And once we arrived, it was the bluest water I've ever seen. It was so clear, so blue and green, and it was like a dream.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's a really cool spot.
Yeah,
touristy spot, of course, but then as well
but the people come and go, and we were very fortunate because we were the first ones from our boat, so we got to stay very long. And at some time, like, there weren't that many people, so we were even able to like make some videos without any people in it, so it looked like there was no one. But that was just great. I think you saw a turtle even there.
Yeah, I was free diving as well, and went down a few meters, and then at one point I saw a turtle. It was really cool. Also, in other spots I saw turtles, like free diving. And there was one beach I really liked. I forgot the name of the beach.
Oh, the one with the big mountain in the back?
Yeah,
where
exactly.
You played football?
Yeah, exactly.
I have
We got
no idea.
some really nice drone footage from Luca. Thank you for this footage. And also, like, all the drone footage is, I think, mainly from him.
Yeah.
We're using in this podcast, so thank you here. And there was just a huge beach with mainly just our boat there from our group, and we chilled there for like 2 hours. You could play volleyball in the water, people were taking pictures. We found some guys and played football with them, and it's just such a cool place to chill and hang around. And
I loved it. When we arrived, there was no one on the island. It was just us and another boat that arrived. And we've never seen that in Thailand. Usually, like, those touristy places are very crowded. But here in the Philippines, it was just us. It was really cool.
Yeah, we did the expedition, or the tour with the Outpost. So the cool thing is, if you do that, it's mainly people of the hostel, and then you get to know each other. You spend the next few days together, and also maybe you go out for partying, which is also a good place to go in El Nido. They have a lot of good restaurants, a lot of good bars. Good spots. You could also do it for a bit cheaper, the same tours with other companies. But then you get a little bit more of a mix of people, which could be like maybe some elderly couple, or like some people who are not that party-ish.
Or families.
Or families, whatever,
stuff,
which is also fine. But if you're looking to party on these tours as well, like combine that, it's a good idea to go to Outpost or Friends, or like do the tours with a hostel. As I said, you get the party people there usually.
Yeah, and talking of partying, like, our favorite place was called Amigos. We went there, I think, 2 or 3 times with Ingi and Loik. It was always a lot of fun, but always the same music. There was a DJ there every time, but it was always like the same songs. Yeah, like Gasolina is big, every Taylor Swift song, and Justin Bieber, and the Filipinos just go crazy.
Mamma mia.
Yeah, ABBA as well. Like, after 5 weeks in the Philippines, we've kind of are a bit sick of those songs. So we're looking forward to some, like, probably electronic music party or whatever.
some music without lyrics.
Yeah.
That are not good for karaoke, because they love karaoke
here. They love it.
That's
everywhere.
probably why they love the songs of the 80s and the Taylor Swift and the old school hip hop. But they just overplayed a little bit.
Absolutely. And El Nido itself, as you just said, it's a very cute town. It's very boho hipster-ish. So there are a lot of cafes, nice vegan, vegetarian restaurants. The food is not that cheap. The drinks aren't either.
If you go
to those places, there are still like local places, but usually they have the local food, which is usually a lot of meat. We're gonna talk about the food a bit later. But yeah, you'll always find a good place to have food.
But if you're into meat, especially fresh fish, there's like a huge night market, like I would say 300 meters long, with just barbecues where you could fill yourself up. They even have like some vegetables, but it looked really cool.
Yeah.
We didn't went there, but it looked good. Yeah, from there we went to the last stop with Ingi and Loic before they had to head home to the cold Swiss winter again.
Yeah.
That was Port Barton. A really cute small village located in the top third of the Palawan, like 4 hours south of El Nido. It was way less developed than El Nido. And yeah, what do you thought about Port Barton?
I really liked it. It was super cute, super small, easy to get around. We rented a scooter bike and we went to two beaches. One was called Coconut Beach, like every second beach here is called Coconut or White Beach, but whatever.
I think the second was White Beach, no?
I think so, yeah. So pretty common names here. And on the Coconut Beach, we found a very big pig. And it was just like walking around and he wasn't shy at all. So we interacted with the pig a bit. I've never seen a pig on a beach, so that was a new thing. And yeah, also the town is cute. There isn't much to do. There are nice beaches, cute restaurants, but I wouldn't stay there for way longer than probably 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, it's a perfect stop if you go from El Nido to Puerto Princesa, which is like the, I would say, capital of Palawan, the biggest city there, with the most option of flights to fly out there. That's why we made a stop there, because it's like within 4 hours from both locations. If you go directly, it takes like 7 hours, and if you make it in 2 stops, it's like twice 4 hours. So it's a good alternative to see. Sorry for the dogs. There are like 10 dogs running around here all the time.
We're in their area, so they're not too happy about it.
Yeah, so it's a perfect stopover for a few days. But if you really want to chill there, it's a really nice place and still not touristy at all.
No.
Proper infrastructure.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You want to say something to Puerto Princesa? Or
Yes, I explored actually a bit. I think you mainly worked on our podcast when we were there. And rented a scooter, so I drove around a bit. To be honest, I went to the same mall, I think 3 times. It was not the best mall I've ever been to, it was the SM Mall. But still, I really like to look at clothes, and I think I bought like 2 new shirts, so that made me very happy, and some new sunscreen.
Yeah, but most people we met have been to Puerto Princesa, but just because they're like the cheapest flights, because they have a bigger variety.
Yeah,
variety of flights to fly out of Palawan. That's what we did. We flew from Puerto Princesa to Cebu, which is like, I would say, the 2nd or 3rd biggest city, about part of Davao. It's like in the middle. It's a big island. It's also, the island is called Cebu, but the main town is also Cebu. It's not really a pretty city, as we figured out later on. But,
super busy.
Yeah, it has an airport. It has a lot of connections. And we had like an hour there to change our flights to our new dream island. I think we can call it that way, Siargao.
We fell in love.
Yeah, we really fell in love. And
what was your impression, like the first hour we've been there, to drive there, for example?
Yeah, already to drive. I had some expectations because a lot of people talked really good of Siargao and said, oh, you're going to Siargao, you're going to enjoy it. That's the same thing I do now when I hear the people are going there, like, oh, you will love it. It really felt like a mix of the California surf style with the palm trees, with the roads. Yeah, it was sunset time, so the light was really nice and then orange and warm. I felt really welcoming there. Such a good feeling to arrive there.
Yeah, and when we landed, I was like shocked positively at the density of like the plants and the trees the island has. It was like super, super green. And yeah, once we like experienced it on land, we have seen why, because there are like millions of palm trees.
Yeah, it's countless.
And they are like very, very close to each other. So they make out like a big, big palm tree forest. And I've never seen that many palm trees in one place.
Yeah, it's also like the most famous picture. Like if San Francisco, you have the Golden Gate Bridge. From Siargao, you have this coconut viewpoint, which is just it's a forest. It's a palm tree forest,
Yeah.
full of palm trees, and also that road going right through it, and it just looks amazing. And
There's like a little river in between.
Yeah.
It's very picturesque.
yeah, and the part of that, it offers a lot of variety of sports activities or like activities in general. You could go surfing, you could go kite surfing, you can go skating. What I'm missing, like a lot of wakeboarding. You can go play pool, darts, volleyball, basketball,
Football.
everything. It's just like going out every night. We did most of them.
You did?
You could even go diving. You can go island hopping.
Yeah.
So we had all the 10 days we've been there. We did so much stuff, and we didn't even got to the north, like to the really beautiful part apparently of the island. We just stayed in the southern part because there was just so much to do. And
Yeah. I was calling the island Eric's fun place because, as you just said, there are like so many things to do there, and you almost did each and everything. And as I just said, my arm was still not at the point where I was being like comfortable going surfing, wakeboarding, and stuff like that. There's some things I probably would not have tried either way. And Eric was like making fun of me. Oh, what did Larissa do in those 10 days? And I was like, yeah, what did I do? I pet a lot of dogs. I chilled on the beach. I usually like traveled around with you to those places that you wanted to go check out the surfing and stuff. And had some drinks, got my nails done, did some shopping. So I still really liked it. So if you're not like super into sports or activities, you'll still have a great time there.
yeah, definitely. I had a lot of fun. Would you like to guess my top 5 things I did there on this island? I'm gonna help you somehow. If you don't figure it.
I think I'll figure it out.
You want to start on place 5?
Oh,
Or you're just gonna count 5? Yeah, that's it.
I'm just gonna probably count to 5.
Yeah, and I'm gonna rank them.
Yeah. Skateboarding on Kantangan Bridge. That was your number 1.
Yeah, that was my number 1. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like a sunset thing to do. Like at 5 o'clock, everybody goes to the bridge, which is like a 500-meter long bridge connecting 2 parts of the island. It's perfectly flat and has a really good. The concrete is like kind of flat, so people just meet up there and skate. And those who are not skating, they just watch and chill and
Have a drink.
enjoy the sunset. And it's just such
It's a
a
magical
nice
place.
If I would have to describe the word vibe with a video or a place, that would be the place too. That's just a vibe there.
Yeah. Okay, that was your number 1. Your number 2 was the electric skateboarding.
Yeah, yeah,
Am I right?
yeah.
Okay. That's one thing I would have loved to try. But to be fair, I think I would have been a bit scared because you can go very fast, which you
Yeah,
told
up
me.
to 30, 40 kilometers per
Without
hour.
having like a steering
Yeah,
wheel.
for
or
those who don't know
something.
who that works, it's like a skateboard with wheels, and it's proper wheels you inflate with air. And then you have a remote, and it's kind of like an e-scooter, but with a remote and no handlebars. So, yeah, the Boosted board is, I think, the most known brand. Casey Neistat is like one of the biggest, I don't know, like ambassadors, or I don't even know if he is one, but like the person who made them also big or known. And it's just such a fun thing to drive around in these streets there with the palm trees, and you see it in the video. It's just.
And they are prohibited in Switzerland,
Yeah.
so that's why you enjoyed it an extra bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called eSkate Siargao. I think you will find it on Google. It's
On Instagram as well, they have an account.
yeah, it's like $30, 25 Swiss francs, about there, for a half-day tour. But yeah, it's a really cool thing to do
Yeah.
and experience.
I was happy that you finally spent some money on activities because that's the money I get to spend on clothes. Because I
And
felt
coffees.
and coffee. I felt always a bit bad because Eric doesn't drink coffee, and there are so many cafes around here, and so many nice shops. So I was happy.
What's some number 3? What would you say?
Number 3, I'd say surfing.
Yeah, you're good. You're doing good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Which one was your favorite surf place? Because the most common one is called Cloud9. It's worldly famous, I'd say.
Yeah. But it was, I think, not the season, and it's just like, I would say almost pros, because they have like proper barrels and they're just too big. And then I would say now beginner intermediate, but there was a really cool spot, Stimpy's, it's called Stimpy's, yeah, where you take a boat and you drive out like, I don't know how many, 4 or 5 kilometers out to a rock formation where there's like a reef break. And you surf there for 2 hours and then the boat takes you back. And it's a cool spot because there were almost no people, and that's the hard thing when you're like beginner intermediate surfer, that you get the wave and don't lose it to somebody who has a priority on the wave. So it's a cool spot to be there, even though it was raining, and it was a cool day to surf there. Yeah.
Well, number 4 is wakeboarding.
Yeah, you're doing good. Yeah.
Thanks, because I know you.
Yeah, there's a wakeboarding park as well.
Yeah.
Maybe you watch me.
Yeah, it was
fun. Would you describe it?
Well, it was just like an artificial park where they had a little lake, and they had like some sort of electronic lift thing that helped you to like get around. And it was really fun to watch you. You were very good, surprisingly. Not surprisingly. He's usually good with everything that has to do with sports.
It was my second time after doing it on the boat for a
But
few.
even the guy at the shop said like, "Oh, good job." And it was pretty impressive because how do you say, like the ramp?
Yeah,
the ramp?
A ramp, yeah.
Yeah.
A jump.
And that was really cool.
Yeah, the first few times I just fell because I didn't have the techniques, but I managed to stay on my feet on one jump, and it was a cool feeling to really jump over a ramp, which was like a meter high or something. And it felt way higher in the air than afterwards as I saw it in the video, but still, it was cool.
It was cool.
That's the number 5.
What else did you do? Was there another activity?
It was cold.
Apart from partying? No.
It was cold.
Oh, the ice
Freaking
bath.
Cold. Yeah.
I could never.
Yeah. That's a thing, like, I think it's internationally becoming bigger and bigger, like the ice bath scene, or taking ice baths due to health and whatever things. And there's probably a lot of reasons. I just felt really, really hot this day because I was surfing and being in the sun all day, and then I saw this place, ice bath with I think a penguin or something was probably on the sign. I was like, yeah, let's try it out. And the guy told me there, yeah, okay, it's the first time, so try to make it to 2 minutes because it is ice bath. It's 0.5 degrees Celsius, so it is just right at the freezing point, 33 Fahrenheit for those people, for those American people of you. Yeah, and
how much time did you spend in there?
He said after 5 minutes I should get out because usually like beginners shouldn't make it more than 5 minutes. But I felt quite alright after 5 minutes. So he just told me, okay, then put your hand and feet outside. So because that's the first thing gets really, really cold. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that. And yeah, after 10 minutes
it's crazy.
He told me, yeah, now you should get out. And the first 30 seconds are like really crazy because your whole body is in shock. But once you get beyond that point, it's just cold.
Yeah.
Sounds stupid, but it's just cold.
I think it has a lot to do like how you like go into it like mentally. If you're like me, you're like, oh my God, it's so cold, I cannot even take a cold shower. Then yeah, you've already lost. I think if you don't like get too much into it, you're good.
So these were my top 5 activities. There's one more thing I really enjoyed, I'm gonna remember forever. It probably was your highlight, your number one thing to do, if you can say so. Would you like to start a short story time maybe? We don't have the same amount of time. But,
yeah, sure. Yeah, even Alex, a friend from the UK, asked me, oh, are you gonna talk about Oh, sorry, there's just dogs fighting. Are you gonna talk about that thing that I'm just gonna tell you about in a second in the podcast, because he was really like wondering how everything went down. So it was my 30th birthday and Eric surprised me with a spontaneous boat trip, a private one. And it was so cute because we've never done something like that. And it was quite romantic and it was like, what's gonna happen? It's my birthday, but still. Then we went to 2 islands There were also beautiful crystal clear water. I'm just going to repeat myself the entire time I talk about the beaches. I'm so sorry. And very, very nice white sand. And then we went to one little tiny island called Guyam. And it looked like the WhatsApp emoji with the little island, just palm trees on it. There's no one living there. And when we arrived, I told Eric, wow, that's the most beautiful place we've ever been to. It's crazy. And we agreed like a couple of weeks ago to do a reel on every nice place we've been to in the Philippines. And I was just like standing, and Eric was walking towards me and gave me a kiss on the cheek or forehead, whatever. And then we went to this place, Guyam Island, and Eric said, oh, that's a nice place to like do it again. I'm like, yeah, why not? Then he set up the camera and everything, and he was like, but don't look at me, it looks weird. I'm like, okay, I always looked at you. Can do that. But yeah, then he started walking towards me, but he didn't give me a kiss on the cheek. He went down on one knee and asked me to marry him. And I was very surprised. To be honest, I kind of expected it a bit because we've been together for 14 years, and I thought, oh, that would be a great place. If I were to propose to you, I would do it here. And yeah, then we cuddled, you gave me the ring, and it was just beautiful, perfect. And we had a very nice picnic on the island, just enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. How is it for you? I mean, you planned that thing a long time ago.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know yet, it was not that ringy, that Ingthor brought me the ring or something. That was like a spontaneous idea. No, I had it planned like, over a half a year. I got the ring since August, and I knew that I wanted to propose on the trip somewhere. I didn't know when. I even thought like doing it just right before the trip. I was like, no, let's just kind of focus on the trip. We have like enough emotions and stuff going on right now. So I just waited for the perfect moment to do that, and I just felt okay, so have a year now the trip, and it would be a cool place, the Philippines, and we really liked it here. And so I was starting to plan it in Siargao, because I realized, so I want to do something cool, but if I just come out of the blue like, hey Larissa, let's do a really nice boat trip to this remote, super beautiful island, she would be like, okay, you want to give me the ring right now? Or you want to do the tour? So I had to use the cover of her birthday to plan that, and yes, you did the same thing. You planned a boat tour for me, so it was, I hoped it wouldn't be that suspicious. And I just looked up what kind of islands they are, like around in Siargao, or in this area where you're staying. And I basically really just went on Google Maps and zoomed in on every island, and then I found Guyam, which is not an unknown place. It's like the island right before General Luna, where we stayed at the end. But still got in contact with a friend I made in Siargao, with Jerome, and then he set me up. He's like, okay, here's the tour, here's the boat, whatever. And he even set up the picnic. Yes, he works in a restaurant. He made us Zupfe, which is like a kind of special bread with even Swiss cheese and stuff, which sounds stupid, but after half a year not being in Switzerland, it was there was a certain kind of craving. Yeah. So it was just a perfect day to do it, and absolutely. It's really cool, and thank you for accepting.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking me.
As well. Maybe I can also talk about like hiding the ring. I mean, I had to hide it for 6 months, and I just had it in my toiletry bag in a little case where I stored before, a blue case, my earplugs, so Larissa wouldn't get suspicious, because if I would take the nice black leather box where I got the ring in, that would be too obvious and hard to hide in the backpack.
Absolutely, yeah. And you asked me like which was my favorite reaction. Before, yeah. And we called like our families on the island, and some of them got very emotional, which was very, very cute. I really, really liked their reaction. But my favorite reaction was from Eden. We met her in the hostel we stayed at. She's from the UK. And she asked me, oh, how did your day go? What did you do? And I was like, Eden, we got engaged. And she was like, fuck off, in her like Leeds accent. It was so funny. So
What did she say?
fuck off. That's like my all-time favorite reaction.
Yeah, it was really...
Yeah, and everyone was so excited. We met a lot of nice people, also two Filipinas, Aisha and Siami. And yeah, they were all so happy for us. It was very, very cute.
Yeah, we basically spent like a whole week with them.
The same people,
Like
yeah.
some things during the day, but mostly like everybody did their thing during the day, and then at 5 o'clock you met up at the bridge and went out for dinner together. And if you didn't went out to dinner together, there's like a really cool thing in Siargao. There's every night there's a party at a different place. It starts between 9 and 10 o'clock, or people get there between there until 12 o'clock, and there's like 2 to 3 hours like full party, and then at 12 o'clock it stops. And you can still go to an after party, which is way more chill, but that way you get to party every night because you don't get too exhausted. And that's basically also...
Exhausted.
It's basically, or you don't get too many hangovers and get up at like
Yeah.
8, 9 o'clock. And you still have something from the day, and that's basically what we did there every day or every night.
Yeah. We also did a booze cruise at the Mad Monkey Hostel, which was very fun. And we started very early in the morning, like very early for us travelers, like 7:30 or something.
Yeah.
We had breakfast, rice and veggies, which was a bit odd for us because we're not used to that kind of breakfast, but it was good. And then it already started with some sort of monkey punch, like from the Mad Monkey Hostel. I didn't enjoy it that much at like 8, 9 in the morning. It was okay. And then we also went to like very cute different places. We also went back to Guillaume.
Yeah.
And that felt quite special to go back there.
It was the day
It was
after.
the day after. And we were like, we told everyone, oh, look, that's our engagement place. And we're like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. And we also went to one place called Naked Island. And that was so special because the island itself, it's naked. It's naked.
Yeah, it doesn't have any...
It's like no plants, no houses,
Just
nothing.
sand.
It's just like sand. And sometimes when the tide is high, you cannot even see it, so it just sinks. But also there, again, very blue water, very white sand. And we spent some time there, took some pictures. So I can also recommend to do a boat trip in Siargao. They're probably not as special as the one in Palawan. So if you have to choose between those two, I would rather go on one in Palawan. But it was still a nice experience.
Yeah. So you are already figuring it out. We really like Siargao.
Yes.
I think half the time we talked so far was just in Siargao.
Yeah.
So that we don't miss out on the other places. One last restaurant you could recommend in Siargao
yeah,
where you
it's
would like to go?
It's called Noods. It's Noods. It's a Chinese
I would have to
Asian wok
correct you.
place.
Like it's more Japanese.
Is it?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
Japanese
okay.
wok bar because they have
is that more
sushi
Japanese?
and stuff.
Oh,
I
but
think
they
we-
also have bao buns, which is
That's
Chinese.
true. Well, Asian.
So I think it's just
yeah.
Asian cuisine. And the portions you got were very, very big. And we're always very happy when we get a lot of food for the price we pay for. So you could like combine your own special wok dish, or as I just said, you can have bao buns with like a lot of shiitake mushrooms and tofu. And yeah, I would have gone there like every day. We went like 5 times, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
every
really liked
second
it a
day,
lot.
basically, we went there.
Yeah, and we also went to another place called Hakata Ramen because we're also obsessed with ramen, and they had a vegan alternative, and yeah, I can also recommend that. It's not very central, but it's close to the Mad Monkey Hostel and close to Cloud9.
Yeah, exactly. So we could do a whole episode, maybe probably even a whole podcast
About Siargao, yeah.
We're gonna go back there for sure at some point. But yeah, we wanna give you some more than only. It's not a Siargao episode; it's the Philippines episode.
Yes.
So it was hard for us to move from there to Malapascua. That's
Yeah.
like after 10 days, we got to Malapascua over like Larry said it flight, and then to Cebu a bus up to the north of Cebu, and then you take a little ferry over to Malapascua.
Malapascua is a super, super remote island. There's almost no tourism apart from dive shops. because diving there is very, very special. We did it too. Which was your favorite animal we've seen?
Ooh, we saw a lot. It's one of the sharks, but I would say it's the black-tip baby shark.
Really? That one?
Yeah, I think that was the coolest experience for me.
Yeah.
Which shark of the sharks we saw was your favorite one?
I would say the thresher shark.
Was it the thresher shark? Yeah.
Because Malapascua is very famous to go and see the thresher sharks. We're probably going to show you some pictures. They have huge eyes. They're pretty cute when they're like very close. And usually they live like 500 meters under sea level.
Yeah.
Whatever. Very deep in the ocean. But there's one place in Malapascua where they come up to like 12, 15 meters to clean themselves. And that's where you get to spot them. And they are very, very like interested in you as a diver. There were a lot of divers when we were there. But they weren't shy at all. They just came and checked you out, like, what's going on? And at some point, one came pretty close to you. You were almost like eye to eye.
Yeah, it felt like with one fin kick, I would like be able to touch. It was like basically really 2 meters. And the really cool thing was there were a lot of people diving there because it's the spots to go. But everybody was behaving. They were not swimming towards the sharks. As soon as somebody saw a shark, everybody just stood still, whatever, like standing is possible in water, but they were moving and they just let the sharks get closer and not pushing it. And yeah, that was such a cool experience as well too.
And they are called thresher sharks because they have a very long tail, and with that tail they knock out the other fish, so they're easy prey. We didn't see them knocking out anyone or anything, but I can imagine because it's pretty like, it moves elegantly through the water.
Because like the shark itself is like 1.5 meters, so like 5 feet long. But then again, the whole tail, the thresher tail, is like again like 1.5 meters, so 5 feet long. So it's probably like a 9 to 10 feet long shark, so like 3 meters long, which is really impressive to see an animal of that size.
Absolutely.
It was not the only shark we saw. We saw also black-tip sharks, black-tip baby sharks, and
we saw a tiger shark.
Tiger shark, yeah.
I was very happy that we've seen one because it was like a coincidence. Sorry, I'm moving around a bit because it's not the comfiest place to sit at. We were swimming back to the ship once we like finished the dive, and I was like, I don't want to just swim back. I'm gonna dive back because I still have a lot of oxygen. And everyone was like, okay. And then I started like looking down. Looked up, I'm like, there's a shark underneath, and I thought it was like a thresher shark, I don't know, some sort of shark. Then the dive master looked as well, and he was like, tiger shark, and then everyone looked down and you could clearly see the stripes of like the tiger shark, and that was very special. I was also a bit afraid, to be fair, because I heard they usually only attack humans when they're on the surface, like kicking and paddling around because they think they're prey. But I think no one like started splashing or kicking, so we were fine. And they are usually pretty scared, so. Yeah.
The footage is blurry, but we have some footage.
It's very shaky in general as well. I'm sorry about that.
We also saw white-tip sharks like on the first dive, which is also cool, but they're a bit far away. Yeah. So like the real experience were on one side, the thresher sharks, and on the other side, what I already talked about was the black-tip baby sharks, which was really cool because we didn't saw them diving, we just saw them snorkeling like right out of the dive resort, the beach resort, like 30 meters into the ocean. You could just take your snorkel, swim out, and you see like 10 baby sharks, like the size between 50 centimeters to 1 meter, so like 2 to 3 feet long. Yeah, that was really cool to just snorkel around and see like the sharks. In a small version was seeing like a cat compared to a tiger.
Yeah, true. Yeah. That was cool. I also like the island Malapascua itself. As I just said, it's a very like local island. There isn't like much else going on there, and we had like a very nice experience because the locals are so friendly. They always say hi, and the kids are just around you. And we were like buying an ice cream, and some kids came and they had like some money in their hands to also buy ice cream. And Eric was like, oh no, the ice cream's on me. And they were so happy, so thankful. They like said thank you like 1,000 times, and they were very, very happy. And yeah, it was a very nice experience to see, like, to give them something back, because it was, for us, it was not that expensive, but for them, might have been a bit expensive.
What would have you done if you would have been the kids with the money?
I would have just bought the ice cream, or what are you
No, but
hinting
if
at?
some stranger like Edith would have bought me ice cream, which is like, took the ice cream, went home, put the money in my pocket, and the day after would go with that money and buy the ice
a
cream
little
square.
sneaky.
Because I think they just got money from their parents or from what or
Yeah.
whatever to get the ice cream, because it's Sunday, was a special day there.
Yeah.
So I would be like, I would have been that sneaky to just hide the money and go for an ice cream the next day.
Probably, yeah. That's a kid thing to do, that's fair.
After the ice cream, we got down to Moalboal, which was again a bus ride, 2 bus rides via Cebu again to Moalboal. And one famous thing to do there is like the sardine run. Like the name says, it's like a huge swarm of sardines where you can also just, like with tiger sharks, the black-tip baby sharks, take the snorkel like 20 meters off the coast, go down, and you see like a huge amount of sardines, which is a cool experience to just dive in within thousands of fishes, and like being in an orchestra, like what it's called, the guy who is in the front of the orchestra.
I don't know, what's it called in English?
The guy with the little stick, the Harry Potter stick in front of the orchestra, and you just felt like him or her, because you were swimming, and the way you were swimming, you were kind of leading the fish, because they were like getting away from you. That's like their natural behavior to protect themselves, like from other fish as well. So it was really cool to see, like also the light reflecting in their skin. Yeah, and then like the colors change, and this is a cool experience.
Yeah. And what I really liked is that I saw my first turtle. The turtle came very close up. She was not afraid at all. So that was very nice. And there were also lots of jellyfishes, and they were a bit scary because we were afraid to get stung. Fortunately, we didn't. We also saw a turtle like munching on a little jellyfish. Haven't seen that before. But yeah, other than that, there's like waterfalls to visit in Moalboal. It's a very nice place as well. Can absolutely recommend it. Nice cafes, nice restaurants.
You can do some canyoneering, which was nice. It's a bit touristy. There are a lot of people there, but still the activity is good. You pay like $25, I would say,
Yeah.
for the whole day tour. $25 to $30 within food included, whole transportation, whatever. So it's a cool thing to do as well if you're into that. Yeah, so we enjoyed our 3-4 days there in Moalboal.
Yeah,
I think
it was
3 days.
nice, yeah.
With a lot of activities, nice beaches. There's like one nice beach up north a little bit, like 10 minutes. You can do that as well. So I would recommend to stay there between 3 to 4 days. They have a really nice food court with a lot of different food in Moalboal. So yeah, it's a good place to do as well if you're anyway in Cebu. I wouldn't fly there just to see that, but if you're in Cebu anyway.
There's another place called Oslop that we didn't visit. Apparently you can like go snorkeling with whale sharks, but we heard that they like feed them so they come close, and lots of people are in the water at the same time, so we didn't do that.
Yeah.
But we went down to Siquijor, and we are on Siquijor Island right now. Siquijor is apparently very famous for its witches and healers.
I'm gonna stop you right here because this is a really special part you're hearing. We're only talking about it in English because we didn't get to it in the German episode. So, hallo zusammen, die eingeschaut haben. For the Swiss guys, we're gonna make you a hint that you jump to this part here if you wanna see what we did in Siquijor, so you can experience that for our Swiss German speaking friends.
Exactly.
So let you right in.
Yeah, we're staying in a very nice hostel. It's called Fable. You go out like eating every night with the people from the hostel if you like to, and you can make friends easily here. And we also made some friends. And one thing I really liked was going to a fiesta. It was a community fest, and they were just like almost only local people, families, elderly people, children, dancing to music. It was again a lot of Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber, but also a bit of Nicky Jam. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah, and the cool thing was just on a basketball court. They have a lot of basketball courts here with a little roof, but the sides are open. And so there was just like kind of a city hall or something they called it, where they did the party. That was a cool thing to do. The most famous thing you can do here is waterfalls. They have a lot of waterfalls. And also cliff jumping you can do here.
And pristine beaches again.
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite a, I wouldn't say untouristy island, but pretty chill island to get around. You get around the whole island with say like an hour and a half with a scooter bike. You can drive around the whole island. You get a lot of really nice beaches, places like here, which are kind of remote again, which are not touristy at all. Yeah, it's a really cool, chill place. And I think it's the pendant, how you say, like similar thing to Siargao if you're looking for a more chilled vibe. And Siargao is like the more adventurous place to go to, do like more activities, sporty activities. Because there are no waves here, you cannot surf. There's no wake park, there's no skateboarding scene, for example. So, but
yeah, I still really like it that we came here as our last stop. You could spend, I don't know, 3 months in the Philippines because there's so many islands. It's not super easy to get around. As I just said in the beginning, we had to fly quite a lot, even though we prefer not to fly short distance. But usually there's like no other transportation. Sometimes there are ferries, but they're even more expensive and take up, I don't know, 5 the time.
yeah, 24 hours
does.
for a 1 hour flight or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, flying is a big thing here, unfortunately, but it's when you like take the plane, it's easy to get around.
Yeah. Otherwise, I would, like you said, there are ferries. We know somebody who took the ferry from Cebu to Manila. It's also possible. It takes quite a long time, but it's possible. But usually you get around by plane and short tracks ferries and buses. The alternative to buses are either vans, because they usually fill up with just tourists and not the local bus, and then they go from one spot to another one without making a stop every 10 minutes. Or if you're like take the comfortable way, or maybe even traveling with a family, which makes sense, then you just rent a private taxi, which is like 3 or 4 times the price, but then again it's way faster and you get like the proper comfort of getting around, and still really affordable. So for like a 4-hour drive you pay like $80 or something.
Yeah, it's pretty okay.
Yeah, definitely. Quite affordable.
Yeah. Then talking about the food, we already talked a bit about the Filipino food. The local food is very meat-based. The most famous dishes are lechon, sisig. Do you have something else in mind?
Something ending with lok at the end.
Sisilok, hotsilok.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's their sausage, maybe?
Yeah.
We didn't try it.
It's pretty meat-based, the whole diet here.
Eric eats meat like once in a while. I don't. But it was still very easy to get around because, as I just said before, there are lots of westernized places where you can get smoothie bowls, avocado toast, and also like oat milk based products, which I really, really liked and appreciated. You pay probably like 4 or 5 times as much as we would have if we would have gone to like local restaurants. But yeah, I mean, the local food, I think you tried it once in a hostel, like the little skewers with one thing was chicken liver or intestines or something.
Yeah, the other one's like pork, it was tasty, but it's really meat-based. So yeah, you end up going to those places. What you can always do is like get some pancit, which is like basically fried noodles. They also have fried rice, and you can just get it veggie without the meat, and then you can get around really affordable between like 100 pesos, 150 pesos, which is like $2 to $3.
Yeah. Talking about the money, the hostels were a bit more expensive than we expected, compared to Thailand especially. In Thailand, we had a lot of the times privates and hostels, and they were like cheaper than 2 dorm beds. Here was a bit different. We mainly stayed in hostels and paid an average, I would say, $15 to $20 a night per person.
But we also stayed like in the nicer located or fancier hostels.
The popular ones.
The popular ones. So you could, if you go a little bit outside, or also like go to homestays, which are not located really good, you could still get around way cheaper than we did.
Yeah, and the currency is called pesos. You can look it up. What's it in your currency? You're not gonna like.
Yeah, I think at the moment, like to the Swiss francs, it's like 1 Swiss franc is 66 pesos. The dollar is like $1 is like 75 pesos, I would say. Yeah, around that, maybe 80 pesos. Oh no, I'm doing it wrong. Sorry. $1 is like less.
63.
Yeah,
pesos.
like 55 pesos, I would say, even less. Yeah.
Just look it up yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the actual currency, but yeah.
The
So
captions,
it's still
yeah.
pretty affordable and a way cheaper country if you're coming from a Western country, and all quite affordable.
Yeah, and the food you pay like $5 to $7, I would say, for westernized food. If you eat local, you can pay $1 to $3.
Yeah, depending on what you're getting.
Yeah.
You need cash here. They do
Yes.
accept credit cards, but they put you a charge 3 to 4%, which doesn't make sense then, because at the ATMs you can cash out 20 to 10,000 pesos a time, which is like $180 to $350, more about that. But you pay every time 250 pesos, which means like $5 to cash out.
That sucks.
That sucks, yeah. So, yeah. HSBC apparently is like a way to go where you can cash out 60,000 pesos at a time, but we didn't sell one ATM of them. The best way is to go to BPI to cash out, because there you can take out 20,000. And somebody recommended us to use Remitly, I think it's called. Put it in like here. It's like an application close to Western Union where you can cash out money. It's a bit more complicated because you have to go like to a pawn shop or something. We didn't do that because we just figured it out like at the end of our trip. But that's probably a way you can cash out money pretty cheap. But you need cash here.
Exactly. I was already talking about the language here. You can say, like in general, it's Filipino, but they have different accents. For example, Tagalog. Here in down south, it's called Bisaya, but their second language to their native language is English. And a lot of people speak like very, very well English. Even people who live on the land and probably didn't have the chance to get the best education. It's so easy to communicate around here. People always get what you need, what you mean. And yeah, I didn't expect it to be that good.
Yeah, that was really, even little kids. And we asked somebody as well who has a little kid, like 3 years old, who was speaking, better speaking than I do, speaking English with us perfectly. And he also said, they just look a lot of, or watch a lot of American TV or TV shows for kids, obviously, like Peppa Pig and whatever. So they get like a good English education from there. And,
so did we, to be fair.
Yeah.
We had good basic English education, but most of it we've just learned from watching TV.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also I think because the language is closer to a Latin language like Spanish, it's easier for the people here to pronounce the words, and they're closer. And also, that's what a lot of Filipinos also told us, like they really love the Western music or the Western culture in general, like especially American and the Latin culture, but also like Europe. So yeah, they're more open-minded to that, and then they get that from since a little. They grew up dancing to Justin Bieber as the little kids did as well in the party at 12 o'clock, and they were like 10-year-olds partying with us here in
shaking their butts.
Which was even funny because at the entry you had like the entry fees like 50 pesos for an adult, and there were like even prices for a child, which is so funny, like going to a club in Switzerland and you see like a price for a child for a party goes like until 3 or 4 o'clock, and it was like no way anybody until under 16 or 18 would get access to the party, but there's just like little kids, even babies, like running around there. It's like
absolutely.
That's the Latino way to go, I think.
Yeah. I think we're gonna wrap up the Philippines with the comparison we talked about in the beginning. Thailand, Philippines. For us, Thailand was always our favorite country in Southeast Asia because it has so much to offer, and it does. But personally, I would still prefer the Philippines. They are less touristy, less crowded, and there are like more opportunities to do more activities. For example, like surfing, skateboarding. I didn't see it where you could have done it in Thailand. Probably there are places, we have not been there. And I think I prefer Thailand. In Thailand, the food compared to the Philippines. But other than that, also the beaches, the nature, the islands, the culture itself.
The people as well.
The people, the party scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have the same.
Yeah, and the only
impression.
thing is a bit more pain in the is to get around.
Yeah.
It's easier in Thailand, but then again, it makes Thailand probably more tourist because it's just easier to get around, and it's just the easiest travel country in, I think, say like internationally to get around or to be there is Thailand. So it's a good start there, but after that I would come here to the Philippines and experience the Philippines, and yeah, the palm trees, the water activities you can do here, and
Yeah, it's just limitless. Do you have one travel tip for the Philippines that you want to share with the people?
you got me on the wrong foot right now.
Too spontaneous.
Yeah, I don't have one ready. You have one?
No, it just came up in my head. I thought you probably have one.
I was clever without having ever one.
I mean, we can always, like, generally speaking, for example, I would, because we've been in hostels a lot, always have a potluck with you, because you usually start.
Padlock.
What did I say?
Pad?
Padlock.
Padlock is it?
Yes. With you, because your valuables are being stored in a little locker, and they usually don't have any locks, so you have to bring your own. So that's something I would say.
Yeah. Then I had time to think. It's not a new one. We already told it in German, but it's my favorite one because I really use it for your toiletry stuff, for your shampoos and stuff. Just, I think, no, that's bad. I really told this trick.
You said that in the English episode in
So
India.
I really like this trick. I really like this trick. So I'm just gonna finish it up. So you hear it again. Cut up a balloon like on the top, like the button where the little hole is, and then you can put it over your little shampoo bottle or whatever to cover it, and it doesn't leak in your toiletry bag.
You really want to make sure that people do it.
Yeah.
Because, to be fair, I stopped doing it because I just got too lazy, but
That's on
nothing
you.
happened so far.
Yeah, that will be on you.
Because-
it will spill really bad.
Yeah, because a lot of stuff I have is not liquid, it's firm, like the soap and everything. There's some
We'll
liquids in
keep
there
you
still.
happily updated as soon as something leaks in her toiletry bag.
I hope not.
3 days later.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
yeah, I think we could like end this episode here. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is there something else you want to share?
That's it. Thank you for all the new people who listen
Yeah.
to us.
And have mercy on us because it's not our first, second language, it's our third. We did our best. We for sure had some like grammar errors or whatever, but I hope you still understood what we tried to say.
So enjoy your whatever you're doing. We're gonna enjoy our whatever we will be going. We're going to South Korea and Japan next,
Yes.
and then hop over to the US and Mexico to visit my family. I talked about in the last English episode, and yeah, that's it for now. I don't know when the next English episode will come out. Maybe in a few weeks, months. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll
whenever we find time and the pleasure to do it again. So have a good
Have a
day,
good
weekend,
one.
whatever you have.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.